Welcome dear students to our maths class. Today we will continue with the chapter Rational and Irrational Numbers. Please keep a notebook and a pen with you and solve the sums with me as I teach. You could revise the concepts of rational numbers before you start, so it would be easier to continue with the topic. So are we ready to start? The topic for today is comparison of rational numbers. This is exercise 1.2 in your text. The signs used for comparison are greater than, lesser than, and equal to. A number line helps us to compare numbers. All the numbers to the right side of the number line are greater as compared to the left side. They are smaller. Let's consider an example. Plus 3 would be greater than 0 because it lies more to the right side of the number line, therefore greater. Another example, minus 3 is lesser than 3. Minus 3 is more to the left side of the number line and therefore smaller. Let us now use this concept to compare rational numbers, which is the topic for today. Here you see a pic of 3 children standing all of different heights. By only observing the pic, we can decide who is taller or shorter. The child with the blue colored t-shirt is taller than the one in the red. The child with the purple colored t-shirt is shorter than the one in the red. Let us now use this method of observation to compare rational numbers. In this case, which number would be greater or smaller? We are using the observation method in the following sums. Let's consider the first example. Both the numbers given are positive. So we have the first example, 15 has to be compared to 35. If 15 has to be compared to 35, 15 would be lesser than 35 because numbers on the left of the number line are lesser. The second example, one number is positive and the other number is negative. So we have example number 2, minus 3 has to be compared to 65. Minus 3 would be lesser than 65 because a positive number is always greater than a negative number. So minus 3 would be lesser than 65. If both the numbers are negative, so our third example is minus 2, it has to be compared to minus 9. Both are negative. Minus 2 would be greater than minus 9. The number closer to 0 on the number line would be greater. Minus 2 is closer to 0 as compared to minus 9. Therefore, minus 2 is greater than minus 9. If you notice, I have put a question mark when the question starts, 15 question mark 35. That is to show we are deciding which sign we have to put. You could put an empty box. I have also written the reason so that you could remember this to decide by observation. 0 and a positive number. If I have to compare 0 and a positive number, let's take an example. 97 has to be compared to 0. 97 would be greater than 0. 0 is always smaller than any positive number or fraction. So instead of 97, if I have 7 upon 5, if I have 8 upon 3, it would always be greater than 0. Next one, 0 and a negative number. So example number 5, 0 has to be compared to minus 9 upon 5. 0 would always be greater than minus 9 upon 5 because 0 is always greater than any negative number or fraction. Now let's move on to our next topic, comparing fractions. Here once again you see a pic of the same 3 children of different heights standing on boxes which are of the same height. Since all of them are standing on boxes of the same height, you can still compare their heights by the observation method like we just did a few minutes ago when they were all standing on the ground. Now if we compare the children to be numerators of a fraction, which could be different numbers, and the boxes of the same height on which they are standing as denominators, which are same numbers, we could use the same observation method by comparing them by just comparing the numerator alone since the denominator is the same. Let's now use this concept to compare fractions with same denominators. So here we have fractions with same denominators. Let's take the first example. 40 upon 29 has to be compared to 141 upon 29. Look at the fractions carefully, girls. You have 29 as the denominator in both the fractions. Since the denominator is the same, you compare only the numerators. So 40 has to be compared to 141. So 40 would be lesser than 141. Therefore, 40 upon 29 is lesser than 141 upon 29. Let's consider the second example. Minus 17 upon 7 has to be compared to minus 13 upon 7. Look at the denominators again. 7 is common denominator in both the fractions, minus 17 upon 7 and minus 13 upon 7. Therefore, we compare only the numerators in order to compare these fractions. So, if I have to compare minus 17 with minus 13, minus 17 would be lesser than minus 13 because minus 13 is closer to 0, more to the right side of the number line. Therefore, minus 17 upon 7 is lesser than minus 13 upon 7. Third example, minus 5 upon 4 has to be compared to 1 upon 4. Look at the denominators again. The denominator is 4 in both the cases. So, we look only at the numerator. Minus 5 and 1. Minus 5 would naturally be lesser than 1 because every negative number is lesser than a positive number. So, I have minus 5 lesser than 1 and therefore minus 5 upon 4 would be lesser than 1 upon 4. Now, let's compare fractions with different denominators. Here once again we see a pic of the same three children of different heights. Like the other case, we compare them to the numerator of a fraction. They are now standing on different things. The first child standing on the ground, the second child standing on one box, and the third child standing on two boxes. This could be compared to different denominators. The box where they are standing could be compared to different denominators of a fraction, which are different. Let's now use the cross multiplication method to compare such fractions. So, we are using the cross multiplication method here. So, the first example, 3 upon 5 has to be compared to 6 upon 10. Cross multiplication, so 3 multiplied by 10 has to be compared to 3 multiplied by 5. Sorry, 6 multiplied by 5. 3 into 10 has to be compared to 6 into 5. 3 10s are 30, 6 5s are 30. If I compare them, they are equal. Therefore, I write the question back again. 3 upon 5 is equal to 6 upon 10. I have written another method here. If you look at 3 upon 5, the denominator 5 can be converted into denominator 10 by multiplying it by 2. But we never multiply only the denominator. We have to multiply the numerator as well with the same number so that the fraction remains the same. So, 3 upon 5 is equal to 3 into 2 upon 5 into 2, which would be equal to 6 upon 10. Now, we compare 6 upon 10 as compared to the question. 6 upon 10, we converted 3 upon 5 to 6 upon 10 and we compare it to the question. They both are equal. So, 3 upon 5 is equal to 6 upon 10. Now, the arrows shown to you shows you that whether you use the cross multiplication method or this method, the answer is the same. So, you could use any one in the exam in this case. Let's take another example. You have minus 25 upon 8 which has to be compared to minus 9 upon 4. We use the cross multiplication method first. Minus 25 into 4 cross has to be compared to minus 9 into 8. Minus 25 into 4 is minus 100 which has to be compared to minus 9 into 8 which is minus 72. Minus 100 would be lesser than minus 72. Minus 72 closer to 0, closer to the right side of the number line would be greater. Therefore, minus 100 would be lesser than minus 72. We write the question back again. Minus 25 upon 8 would therefore be lesser than minus 9 upon 4. Let's try the sum with the other method. Now, you have minus 25 upon 8. Again, has to be compared to minus 9 upon 4. Can I convert 4, the denominator 4 into 8? Yes, by multiplying it by 2. But we have to multiply the numerator and the denominator with the same number so that the fraction remains the same. So I have minus 9 upon 4 equal to minus 9 into 2 upon 4 into 2, which would be equal to minus 18 upon 8. So we have converted minus 9 upon 4 into minus 18 upon 8. So now let's write the question minus 25 upon 8, and instead of minus 9 upon 4 I would write minus 18 upon 8. So if I have to compare these two, denominators are the same, so look only at the numerator. Minus 25 has to be compared to minus 18. Minus 25 would be lesser than minus 18 because minus 18 is closer to 0. So we have minus 25 upon 8 is lesser than minus 18 upon 8. Now, minus 18 upon 8 was nothing but minus 9 upon 4. So, we write the question back again. Minus 25 upon 8 is lesser than minus 9 upon 4. Once again, look at the arrows. Whether I use the cross multiplication method or this method which I have just explained, the answer is the same. Let's go to the third example. Minus 7 upon 11 has to be compared to minus 3 upon 4. We'll use the cross multiplication method here. So, minus 7 cross, so it will be multiplied by 4. Minus 7 into 4 has to be compared to minus 3 multiplied by 11. So, minus 3 into 11. Minus 7 into 4 is minus 28, which has to be compared to minus 33. Minus 28 is greater than minus 33 because minus 28 is closer to 0, closer to the right hand side of the number line. Now you replace the question back again. Minus 7 upon 11 is greater than minus 3 upon 4. That's our answer. Can we use the other method here? Look at the denominators. We have 11 in one case, minus 7 upon 11, and we have 4, minus 3 upon 4 in the other fraction. 4 3s are 12. But it cannot be converted into 11. So here you can only use the cross multiplication method. The fourth sum, 15 upon 12 has to be compared to 7 upon 16. 15 cross 15 into 16 has to be compared to 7 into 12. 15 into 16 is 24. 7 into 12 is 84. 240 has to be compared to 84. 240 would be greater than 84, and therefore we replace the question. 15 upon 12 is greater than 7 upon 16. I hope each of you have understood this topic well. All the sums that I have used are examples from your exercise 1.2. Please keep practicing so that you learn the topic well. Bye children, take care.